there might actually be too many biomes. Or at least too many biomes. Well, no, that's wrong. That's not the right thing to say. I think the climates are too big. I think maybe if the climates are half as big in all directions, and there was just greater variety within each climate, then I think the game would be okay. And you have to remember that a distance, like the area is the square of the distance, right? So if you double the length of something, you end up with 4 times as much of it in area. What I'm trying to say is like, let's say you have a desert that's like 100 blocks by 100 blocks, all right. Now, if you extend that to 200 blocks by 200 blocks, you have 4 times as much desert because it's an area, like the length, like area is length squared. So if you just increase the length of something a little bit, the size of it increases quite a lot more, right? So if you increase it to 3 times the length, you end up with 9 times the area. So then the desert is 9 times as big as before, and it can get away from you very quickly. Stuff like that. So, for example, should the dry biomes be 3 times the length of the desert? So you have biomes and then you have the climate. Should the climate be like 3 times the length of a biome? Should it be 5 times the length of a biome? The problem is that you don't, if you make the length of the climate 5 times the length of a biome, you don't end up with 5 biomes within one climate region. You end up with 25 biomes in one climate region. And that's when we get into the problem of like savanna, desert, savanna, desert, savanna, desert, savanna, desert, over and over again, 25 times. Because the area is the square of the length. If Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. I just don't know if I'm communicating it properly. So really, if you make the climates like 1.5 times the size of the biome, or even just 2 times the size of the biome, already you have, even 2 times, you already have 4 biomes of that climate all clustered together. And that's already quite a lot. What are we seeing now? Like, look at all this spruce, look at all this spruce. I think given everything is in multiples, like everything is binary, it looks like the climates are 8 times the length of a biome, is what it looks like, just looking at maps. And that's way too much, in my opinion. That's way too much. Because 8 times 8 is 64, so you have 64 of the same climate, different biomes of the same climate, 64 of them in a giant block. And you have to like travel through 8 biomes to get to a different climate, which is way too much. It's not, and I don't say that like it's way too much in the sense that the game is not interesting enough for that to be a fun experience. To have to walk through 8 biomes to get to a different climate. Because look at this, like yesterday, which is like, I don't know, 12 or like 15 videos ago by now, it was just deserts and savannas one after the other for ages and ages and ages. And now it's spruce and mountains and oak one after the other for ages and ages and ages. How much of this have we seen already? Like an hour, over an hour of this. Of the same stuff over and over again. So I think at most the climates should be 4 times the size of a biome, or just not even that, just 2 times the size of a biome. Like you have 4 similar biomes, and then it's a different set, and then for 4 more biomes, and then it's a different set for 4 more biomes, and then it's a different set for 4 more biomes. I think that makes much more sense in terms of variety in gameplay. Because this is look, it's Bruce again. It's Bruce again. The thing is, there's not enough biomes in each climate to fill in 8 by 8. It's too much. It's too much. It's too big. It's way too big. And I wonder if we can adjust this. I don't know if I should just exit out of this right now and try to, because you can like make custom worlds. You can customize your world. I wonder if we can like try it out and see if it's better. That's Bruce again. This zombie trying to kill me. And Spruce again. Look at Spruce again. Spruce again. Insane. This is too big, too much. Way too much. Um. Alright, I'm just gonna find a place to get out of the boat. And then maybe we can look at the world generation in the customized worlds thing. Maybe what we should do, maybe the biggest thing we should do is to tinker with that so that we generate the best worlds possible. Okay, where do I want to land? Spruce again. Look, Spruce again. Again, Spruce. So it just goes on and on. It's just the same Spruce and then back to Oak. Look at it. Spruce and Oak again. It's because the climate regions are too big. Alright, let me come here. Let me get out of the boat. Let me put that down and sleep. Let me save and quit. Single player, create new world, game mode, creative, more world option, type, customize, randomize default, this is default, sea level, dungeon, water, cave, most monuments, lava lake rarity, biome ore, biome size, river size, biome ocean plains. Okay, you can choose a biome to have. Biome or biome size? It's not the biome size, it's the next page. Dirt, gravel, granite, diorite, andesite, coal ore, iron ore, gold ore, redstone ore, diamond ore, lapis. Main noise scale. Depth noise scale. Height scale, coordinate scale. Biome depth weight, biome scale weight. Biome depth offset, main noise scale XYZ, depth noise XYZ, coordinate. Nuts. It doesn't actually have biome depth offset, biome depth weight. This isn't biome scale weight. Biome scale weight. Biome size. See, this is not. This is not actually lava oceans. That's kind of cool. I don't want biome size. Let me switch this to 1. Not that I want one. It's not the biomes, it's how big the it's how big the climate regions are. So let me just so okay, so this is biome size 1. This is pretty funny. So jungle, mountain, forest, look, and then that's the dry stuff. So if we count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the jungle is like 8 biomes long here. And then the mountain is like, look, this mountain here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then ocean. It's 8. Look, you can kind of see it. Like how much spruce is there? So this is like 8 by 8 is forest and mountain. And then the 8 jungle there, and then if we fly this way, we get to the dry biomes. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8, and then it switches to another one. So I mean, they're not fixed squares, but they're roughly 8 by 8 for each climate. You can see it when we shrink down the size of the biomes like this. And then like swamp and deep jungle here, for example. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, oh, this is only 4. Although it does stretch that way for a few more, and it stretches this way for a few more. And then the jungle is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, you can see it. So it's about 8, and this mountain is massive. The clouds are not helping us. Let me just get under the clouds. So you can kind of see, and in this world there's a lot of jungles. Um, yeah, yeah. So like, because like this is a biome with biome size 1. This here is a biome. It's about that size. And this jungle, for example, is about eight biomes long, or a little more. And so it's 8 times. It's 8 times. So we need to travel through 8 biomes before we get to a different climate. Is what's going on. Which way? We're going north? Going north. Or rather, we have to travel through 8 biomes to get a chance for a different climate, because it's possible that we just find the same climate again. And all this time, I'm not sure if we actually have traveled across 8 biomes. Because if you follow the coastline, the ocean itself is like a climate. And so you go through 8 biomes worth of oceans, but you're still surrounded by the same stuff all around it. So yesterday, and by yesterday I mean just one continuous recording session of like 4 hours. Or was it 4 hours or 6 hours? It was crazy amount of hours. So we spent all those hours wandering in the dry climate, alternating between savanna and desert. And we never found our way out of it, really. But we found our way out of it in the end, into a cold area. But it was so far that we have to travel so far to get through 8 different biomes in order to get to a different climate in that direction. I mean, they made the biomes bigger because, like as I said, when they first introduced biomes, the biomes were just completely random, and you can't have deserts next to ice, which is odd, right? You can have mesas next to ice and stuff like that, which is odd. And so they made the biomes bigger, and then you could still like you made the biomes bigger so that you don't have like these jarring transitions between like swamp and mountain and things like that. But then you still had, even though your biomes were bigger, or the transitions weren't as often, but there were still transitions between like ice and desert. And so they added like climates so that you can't transition from one to the other immediately. Like you have to go through an intermediate. For example, like you can't just go from hot to cold immediately. You have to go through a temperate zone. But I think after they made that change, they could have made the biomes smaller again. So they can afford to make the biomes smaller again because now you don't have a jarring transition between two really different biomes. So you don't go from like deep forest straight into plains because you have to go through a smaller forest first. And also a lot of the newer biomes, there are a lot of biomes now, but a lot of them are transitional biomes, right? So there's like plains, and then there's flower forest, and then there's forest, and then there's like big forest. And which are like variations on the theme. They're not different biomes really, just variations on the theme. And when you have variations on the theme, it means you can make the biome sizes smaller again. Because before, for example, if there's only desert, mountain, forest, then if you have small biomes and you just kind of alternate between desert, forest, and mountains, then you have these kind of really jarring transitions, right? But because you have more intermediate biomes, so now you go from deserts, savannas, plains, flower forest, forest, deep forest. So now you have a like more in between stuff. Then you can have smaller biomes without anything being as jarring as before because you do have to transition between the intermediate stuff before you get from one end to the other. So I think the biomes actually can afford to be smaller now. Like even when we turned down the biome size to 1, it didn't look weird. Well, I mean, it looked a little weird, but didn't look that weird. Like the jungles were still kind of big because you had to go through eight biomes worth of jungles before you get to a different type, like before you get to like deserts. So I think maybe biome size of 2 is okay now, or even biome size of 1 is plausible. Like you look at that map and you don't feel like it's weird. Like you kind of feel like, well, there's small mountains every now and then. Things are a little small, but I think like biome size of 2 is fine. Like transition, like a biome size of 2 transitioning from deep forest to forest back to deep forest, you don't even notice that it's a different biome. You know what I mean? Whereas a biome size of 4, you transition from desert to mountain to desert, you'd really notice. And so because so many of the biomes now are transitional biomes, they can afford to just make them smaller. Alright, look, so we walked through, well, I think we like walked and bolted through maybe 8 biomes worth of trees. And now we're in plains, which is not jungle, but it's plains. And more deep forest. I guess partly we're also unlucky. Like not only are we having to travel a long way, we're also unlucky in that there's just no jungles nearby. So now there's swamp. Jungles, so looking at like the previous map, just thinking back to the previous map we just looked at, jungles are their own climate. Jungles are just their own climate, so nothing is similar to jungle except jungle. So we saw like a solid block of 8 biomes worth of jungle, and that was it. Whereas some of this like swamp and oak forest and deep forest, these are the same sort of things. So you can transition from one to the other, from one biome to the next, and that happens relatively often. But jungle is just jungle.